come to abolish, but to complete. Here he himself has said he did not come to do away with the Torah of Moses. Contrary to what's being taught today, he did not come to do away with the Torah. Quite the opposite. He came to bring people back to the Torah. In one place he said, I came only for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That is, for those people who had turned their back on the Torah of Moses, on Hashem, blessed be He, and he came to bring them back to the Torah. Yes, indeed, I tell you that until heaven and earth pass away, not so much as a yud or a stroke will pass from the Torah, not until everything that must happen has happened. Here he's telling us that this is an eternal Torah, that as long as there is a heaven and an earth, there's a sky above us, there's ground beneath us, that the Torah is valid. Not just the Torah, but not even the slightest pen stroke will be taken away. It is intact, and it is for today, for his followers, just as much as it ever was. So whoever destroys the least of these whoever disobeys the least of these mitzvot and teaches others to do so will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. He also has set up, or has illuminated, a status in the kingdom that whoever disobeys Torah, whoever sets out to disobey Torah and to teach others to do so, shall be called the least in the kingdom. Then he goes on to say, but whoever obeys them and so teaches will be called greatest in the kingdom of heaven. So here we have a situation where there is a status in heaven, and it's totally determined upon how well we keep the Torah of Moshe. If we do not keep it, and we teach others not to keep it, which is being done in many, many churches today, we will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. Why? Because we are lawbreakers. You cannot tell people to break the law. You cannot break the law yourself and not be a criminal. This is just the way it is. But whoever keeps Torah and teaches others to keep Torah shall be called greatest in the kingdom. So we have least those who deny Torah and teach others to deny it. We have greatest those who keep Torah and teach others to obey Torah. I don't know about you, but if I'm going for this, I'm going to go for the gold. You know, why should I want to get to heaven and be in a least position? The whole idea to me is to be as close to Hashem as possible. I can't do that if I'm the least in the kingdom. I have to be among the greatest in the kingdom. And the reason to have the law is to bring a people together in unity. Any country around the world has a set of laws so that the people living in that country can live together in peace and unity and working towards the same goal. The same thing is true with the kingdom, or the Olam Haba, the world to come, is that these laws are there to teach us to live together in peace and unity and to work towards the same goal. These laws were not laws that were made by man. These were made by Hashem, blessed be He. This is the way He has designed us, created us to be, and He expects us to be this way. And as followers of Yeshua, we are no less expected to live this way. And he goes on and says something at the end that is very intriguing, sometimes confusing, but I think you have to really take a good look at it to try to understand what he's talking about. It says, for I tell you that unless your righteousness is far greater than that of the scribes and Pharisees, you will certainly not enter into the kingdom of heaven. We know the first century Pharisees many times were wrapped up in the legal system. And because of it, a lot of things they taught, they really didn't keep themselves. And in one other passage that we'll go through in a later lecture, Yeshua tells us about that and shows us how they were becoming hypocritical. And he was telling his followers that I expect you to be better than the Torah teachers, to exceed the Torah teachers in their keeping of Torah. That's a big order. It really is, because when we look at the Orthodox Jews today, they are very intent on keeping Torah. They have all kinds of understandings on the Torah laws that they try to live by. But Yeshua expects us to be better than that. And how can we be better than that? Well, in Christianity it's taught that we don't have a righteousness of our own. That Yeshua was the righteous when he kept the Torah, and if we are in Yeshua, then his righteousness becomes ours. But make no mistake about this. He says right here that it's not his righteousness, but it's your righteousness. That righteousness which you have has to be greater than that of the Torah teachers and the sages. That's a big order. That takes a lot of intent on keeping Torah. And we need to really pay strong attention to this, because he doesn't expect us just to be commonplace. He wants us to be the best. And that takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. And it takes a lot of understanding. And many times we call the Jewish writings evil in Messianic circles, when it's not. These men were not trying to harm anybody by writing down their understandings of the law. They were trying to help people to understand it. Because when you understand something, you can do it better. It's not necessary to understand the law to keep it, but it sure helps, because then we have the knowledge of why it's being done and why we should do it. It becomes easier to do. It's a mental thing. It's knowledge, and knowledge is very, very important. So we see here that not only did Jesus not do away with the law, but he demanded that his followers keep it. And in the upcoming segments, we'll go into some of his understanding of these laws so that we can see them a little better and understand them a little more. But I encourage you today to go back and to look at the law of Moses and say, what am I responsible for keeping as a believer in Jesus or Yeshua? And then gradually start to do it. We don't do it instantaneously. It takes time. We grow into it a little at a time. We may never completely do it before the day that we leave this body. But however, it's our responsibility to make efforts towards that. So I encourage you today to use any resources that you can possibly find. There's one book that I used at the very beginning called Understanding the Kingdom, which lists only those Torah commandments that we are responsible for. So I encourage you today to start looking into this and start becoming a Torah observant believer of Jesus or Yeshua. Good day.